A right circular cone has a volume of 71,148 pi cubic centimeters, and the area of its base is 5,929 pi square centimeters. What is the slant height in centimeters of this cone? So we have a cone. We can draw a little diagram here. So it's a cone with a circular base. We're told the volume and the area of the circle on the bottom. And we need to find the slant height. And the slant height is this distance here. It's from the base up to the tip right here, following the edge of the cone. So if we were to look at the cone from a side profile, it would look something like this. It would actually just look like a triangle if we looked at the cone right from the side, where the bottom here, the length of this whole thing, is the diameter. This right here is the height of the cone, and this right here is the slant height. We'll call it S. So what we need to do is find the diameter, the height, and to find the slant height. Because what we can do is, using the diameter and the height, we can do a Pythagorean theorem on this right triangle here to find the slant height. So let's do that. So we know that the formula for a cone, the volume of the cone, is 1/3 pi r squared h. Here, pi r squared is just the area of the circle on the bottom, and we multiply that with 1/3 the height to get the total volume of the cone. And we're given the area of the bottom of the cone, and we're also given the volume. So that means that we can just plug these in. So we'll have 71,148 pi, the volume, equals 1/3 times pi r squared, which is just the area of the circle, which is given as 55,929 pi, and that multiplied with h. So pi r squared is the area and phi is the volume. Both of them are given, and we can easily just solve for h. So what we can do is cancel out the pi, so this from dividing both sides by pi. So that would just get rid of the pi's on both sides. Now let's distribute out this 1/3. So if we get our calculator out, 5,929 divided by 3 equals 1,976.33 times the height. That equals 71,148. So then, to find the value of h, we can divide this quantity here by this coefficient. So 71,148 divided by 1,976.33. And so we get, this is basically 36. We can just round since there's so many zeros here. Okay. So now we have the height of the cone. So let me redraw this triangle here. Let's draw this a little better. So this is the side profile of the cone. If you looked at this from here is a little bit above the ground if you look at the cone. And this is looking directly at level with the cone from the side. It would just look like a triangle since it's a cone. So we know the height of the cone now. The height is equal to 36. And we also can find the diameter of the cone, because we know that the area of a circle is pi r squared. And we're told the area. So what we can do is plug in the area, which is 5,929 pi equals pi r squared. we can cancel out the pi's, so we get r squared equals 5,929. So that means r is just equal to the square root of 5,929. So we can just do 5,929 raised to the square root. That's equal to 77. So what that means is the radius, which is half the diameter, is equal to r. So that means this distance from here to here is equal to r. And so is this distance here. So that means we have two sides of a triangle. We have a triangle with r as the base and h as the height. So then we can easily solve for the value of s, which is the slant height of this cone. So h squared plus r squared equals s squared. So h is 36, and 36 squared is equal to 1,296 plus r squared, and we know r is equal to 77. 77 squared is 5,929, and that's equal to s squared. So that means s is just equal to the square root of this whole quantity. So if we take the square root of both sides, the square root cancels out the exponent, so we get s equals the square root of this plus that. So if we add 5,929 with 1,296, we get 7,225, and if you square root that, we get 85. So the slant height, the length of this here, this side of the cone from the base to the tip, is equal to 85.